You are Locked On Lions POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Detroit, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome into a live Locked On Lions postcast. I am your host, Jake Rietma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Rietma. Thursday night football and NFC North clash, and it lived up to all the hype and then some. Lions get the win on a walk-off field goal, 34-31. Dan Campbell at it again, going for it on fourth down. Are you kidding me? We're going to break it all down, but this was a hard-fought NFC North battle. Back and forth. We'll break that down. The emergence of Tim Patrick. It's the Tim Patrick game. We'll discuss that as well. And the playoff spot clinch. But of course, that's just the beginning for the aspirations and the goals of these Detroit Lions. But it's the Locked On Lions postcast. I'm your host, Jake Rietma. As always, we thank you for making the Locked On Lions postcast your post-game destination, live, free, and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team each and every day. I want to shout out everyone who tunes in on YouTube for the live show. We appreciate that. We'll get to your comments here throughout the program as well. And as always, shout out to Matt Derry on the Locked On Lions daily podcast. Got us ready for this game, and I'm sure his reaction will be can't miss audio. Now, as always, want to give a huge shout out to today's presenting sponsor, making the Locked On Lions postcast possible. Give it up for the Crossover Thursday Prize Picks. That's right. The Crossover Thursday is presented by Prize Picks. You got to download the app. Use the code Locked On MLB. Locked On NFL. That's right. Locked On NFL. It's the National Football League. Jake, what the heck are you talking about? Locked On NFL to win $50 instantly when you play $5. It's Crossover Thursday. Locked On NFL to win $50 instantly when you play just $5. But my goodness, my notes for this game are 3 pages long because it was a heavyweight fight. It was punch after punch. It was overcoming adversity. I think this game, more than any game so far this season, even the game the Lions lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, showed the resiliency of the Detroit Lions and everything that we have enjoyed talking about for this entire season, last year as well, but you saw it on display. The culture, what this team is truly made of, overcoming mistakes. Jared Goff throws an interception, and what's he do? He comes back and completes his last 13 passes of the game. The defense, a depleted defense, down 13 players on injured reserve, 3 more that didn't even suit up tonight. You had every guy displaying the ultimate team game defensively, guys stepping up and brand new guys up off the street. I mean, you're talking about Jamal Adams out there making plays who is just days into this defense, and guys stepping up like Trevor Nowaski, a Division II player that is found his way into the National Football League, and Dave, the list goes on. David Long. I mean, I could go on and on. Quan Alexander. Again, I'm going to keep saying the list goes on, but so many guys. Ezekiel Turner makes a huge tackle on a third down on Jordan Love, who was trying to run. And this game showed how good the Green Bay Packers are as well. I mean, the way they started that third quarter, my goodness, they looked scary good. And that's a testament to the resiliency of this Detroit Lions team. But as always, I'm going to try to make sure we get to every single comment on the live Locked On Lions postcast. But let's work backwards because, of course, we got to talk about the Lions electing to go for it after the third down stop, which there were a couple of short down plays where the Lions were stopped. You got to give the Packers defense a lot of credit there. But on fourth down, already in field goal range, and with under a minute to play, Dan Campbell elects to go for it and ice the game if they get the first down, well, assuming the field goal is made, which it was. And Jared Goff is stepped on by Ragnow, his athleticism as he's falling down, able to complete the handoff to Montgomery, and they get the first down and are able to milk the rest of the clock. And Jake Bates, we got to mention him, another walk-off made field goal with the pressure on. I know it wasn't a long kick, but man, Just a total team effort tonight, and part of what makes this team so fun and so enjoyable to root for night in and night out. Now, this is still just part of the gauntlet. That's what the Lions do. They played Thursday on Thanksgiving, right back at it on Thursday. The whole 3 games in 12 days is insane to put your body through that in the National Football League, but lo and behold, the Lions are, and what's their reward? Oh, they get to play Buffalo next, but battling through the gauntlet, and tonight to solidify another NFC North win against the best division in football to be unbeaten is just another testament to how good this Detroit Lions team is. And I got to mention Tim Patrick, because on 4th down, Jared Goff found him. There are a couple of different 4th downs. I mean, that's going to be the one of many stories from this evening's game, but the 4th down conversion, Lions had a couple, the one right before the end of the half, the Lions convert on 4th down to Jared Goff. For the game, I mean, this is insane. For the game, the Lions 4 of 5 on 4th down. Now, as any good loudmouth talking into a microphone will tell you, the one they didn't get is exactly the one I didn't think the Lions should go for. And I even texted my brothers, hey, this is one you punt the ball, you've got the lead, don't give the Packers the short field. But the Lions did go for it. It was 24-21, and the Lions had just forced a Packers punt. Green Bay stops the Lions on 4th down and 1. Packers go down and score. But that's what I'm talking about with the resiliency. After the Packers go up 28-24, what a huge response by Detroit. And that culminated with the Tim Patrick touchdown, because again, this was the Tim Patrick game. 2 touchdowns for him, this first 2 of the season. But you look at that response by the Detroit Lions when they needed it most, down 28-24. The Lions go down and score and get back in front. And the defense too, when the Packers came back and got that field goal, you got to give the Lions defense a lot of credit, because the Packers were driving. It was a 9-play, 58-yard drive, but the Lions bent but did not break. And the field goal tied the game at 31, which left Jared Goff and the offense 3 minutes, 38 seconds, 11-play drive, 53 yards to get the walk-off field goal for Jake Bates. There were a lot of huge plays in that drive, but yes, any offensive coordinator, my brother, shout out to him, offensive coordinator at Alma College, he will tell you on drives like that, the first play is so telling. Get into a rhythm, get some confidence going, get in front of the sticks, and that's exactly what the Lions did when Jared Goff completed it to Jamison Williams, who was quiet tonight, but that was a big catch for him for 19 yards to get the drive moving. And then, of course, probably the biggest play on that, although I disagreed with the spot, but the connection from Jared Goff to Amon-Ra St. Brown, who, again, was pretty quiet tonight, but that was a huge, huge catch for Amon-Ra St. Brown to put the Lions in good position. I thought there was kind of some bogus officiating, and I'm never one to talk about the officials. You guys know that. But if we're getting a little bit in particular, or if we're getting a little bit picky here, after the Amon-Ra St. Brown huge catch, it was a bad holding call on Ragnow. And the very next, on that screen pass, and the very next play, you had Enbarari for the Packers jump on the pile, which could have been a penalty as well. So those are 2 calls, one against the Lions and one no call, but they overcame adversity. And again, that's where you get the 4th and short. And you step up with the Dan Gamble biting kneecaps, everything about this Lions team. This is the night when we're upset with some of the 4th downs that the Lions don't get. We got to remember this game, because, man, this the 4th down is what sealed it. And like I said, Goff even slipped on the handoff to David Montgomery. But all in all, I mean, this was the definition of a heavyweight fight. You got to give a lot of credit to the Packers on the road. And I know the Lions were beat up more than the Green Bay Packers, but they had their fair share of injuries. Aleem McNeil for the Lions left early and did not come back. But man, when you look at this game and you go back and watch the film, Every drive, there's things you can point to. And I've got the post game on in the background right now. They're showing that fourth down where Goff loses his footing, is still somehow able to hand it off to Montgomery. My goodness. But we'll go over some team stats. We'll get your comments as well. Lots to get to. We're just getting started on a live reaction to the Detroit Lions' 11th consecutive win. They're now 12-1 on the season, undefeated in the division. They sweep the season series against the Green Bay Packers with a 34-31 win at home at Ford Field. Don't go anywhere. Your comments are next on a live Locked On Lions postcast. And this episode of the Locked On Lions postcast is brought to you by FanDuel. That's right. You got to make every moment more and get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats. You can view live play-by-play and so much more. And it all happens on the same page where you place your live bets. All you got to do is visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel. The Locked On Lions postcast is also brought to you by Hillsdale College. Time is our most precious commodity, so don't waste it scrolling through the same mind-numbing content for hours and hours. How you can spend it wisely, you ask? Well, how about improving yourself? Give the gift of history, economics, the great works of literature, the meaning of the U.S. Constitution, and so much more. Because right now, our sponsor, Hillsdale College, is offering more than 40 free, that's right, free online courses. And here are just a few. The Constitution 101, the meaning and the history of the Constitution, Introduction to Free Market Economics, The Great American Story, A Land of Hope, The Rise and Fall of the Roman Republic, and a brand new documentary-style course on Marxism, Socialism, and Communism. Listen, Hillsdale College, world-class education. I would know. Both my parents went there. I wanted to go there out of high school. I would have been on academic probation, which shows you how tough. But don't worry, these classes are free, and all of these Hillsdale courses are self-paced, so you can start whenever and tune in wherever. Plus, you can go deeper with readings, quizzes, discussions, or just enjoy the lectures. So go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/lockedon to register, hillsdale.edu/lockedon to register. Cruising right along on a live Locked On Lions postcast, a victorious Locked On Lions postcast, 11 in a row, undefeated against the division so far this season. The Detroit Lions top the Green Bay Packers for the season sweep in epic fashion. Number of lead changes down the stretch in this one. Man, I mean, you if anybody was at the game, would love to hear how loud Ford Field was. Would love to hear any of your thoughts, because that's what makes the Locked On Lions postcast so fun. We'll get into the box score in just a second. Jared Goff was really, really good once again. Lions did struggle running the ball tonight. You got to give the Packers defense some credit there. But overall, a really, really impressive night from the offense to score 34 points. And I want to circle back on something. I said J-Mo was a little bit quiet, but he was the leading receiver. So that's on me. My bad. 5 receptions for 80 yards. So I wouldn't call that being quiet. That's my bad all the way. Now, let's get to your comments. Always appreciate everybody chiming in, and that's what makes the Locked On Lions community so special. Jeff Wilford, my main man, is first up. Huge win. He says Dan Gamble has balls of steel, 4th and 1 for the win. Yeah, listen, hand up. I was saying kick it, trust your defense, and Dan said, nah, we are going to go for the win. We're going to bite some kneecaps. Gordon Depressed says, yeah, baby, always have Bates kick from the left hash. Yeah, that's a good point. I should have mentioned that. Really good point. Goff went over to the left hash just like he does on the extra points. So obviously that's his sweet spot in his comfort spot. Dennis Tytick says, go Lions. Demetrius McNeil and Everyday, a big shout out on the legendary Al Michaels for calling a shootout breaking out at Ford Field. Yeah, I love Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit. I know Al Michaels has taken some heat as of late because getting up there a little bit in his age, but what an iconic sports broadcaster responsible for calling some of the biggest moments of all time. But me, oh my, Demetrius goes on to say the Buffalo Bills are coming to town. That's a Super Bowl preview. Very well could be. There is no doubt about it. All right, we've got your brother in Christ podcast and prayer checking in saying Super Bowl in all caps. Hey, listen, I love that Dan Campbell and the rest of the Detroit Lions as an organization don't shy away from that. That's exactly what they are striving for. He goes on to say, this is awesome. Best Lions team ever. We are blessed. Indeed. Jeff Wilford wanting to give out a game ball for the new defensive guys. I agree with that. Came in and did their job. Next man up. That is so well said by Jeff Wilford. A couple of nitpicky items. I think it was Quan Alexander that got burnt on play action play at one point. But you're exactly right. I mean, plug and play. I thought defensively and the interior, a lot of pressure being brought. And you heard Herbstreit touching on it from time and time again that when Jordan Love was comfortable, he's going to do his damage. But throughout the course of the night, the Lions did a good enough job to keep him uncomfortable at times and get the pressure on him. Teddy Roll says, go Lions. Gutsy calls all night. The defense did enough to make a few prime stops. Love these Lions. You absolutely got to love these Lions. Guga Gaga says, huge OPI by St. Brown. No call. I was waiting for someone to make this comment, and I understand based on the replay. I will also disagree with you because I think that's two players, jobbing for position at that point. I don't think it's necessarily a push off. And again, I would counter that nitpicky offensive pass interference with the holding call that was called on Ragnow that happens on every single play, as well as the no call on the player. I forget who it was, is number 55 for the Packers, Kingsley and Gabara jumping on the pile. So, but I'm not going to say that there wasn't any contact because I saw that. And that was on Nixon, who had the interception earlier. I mean, he played a whale of a game. You got to give Nixon a lot of credit. And so I hear the comment. I see the comment. I acknowledge it. If that call is made, is it the most egregious one we've ever seen? Probably not. Is that call made in that spot? No, it's simply not. I don't think and I would be saying the same thing if that was a Packers reception. I don't know if you're a Packers or a Lions fan, but I would honestly be saying the same. Chris S says offense did what it had to do to pick up a depleted defense that quite honestly held up. AG will be missed. Yeah, that's a good point. Let's enjoy AG and Ben Johnson as well, obviously. I mean, two of the best coordinators. You could make the case the best two coordinators in all of football. Of course, we're biased, but man, it was really neat to see this defense step up in the offense. And Dan Campbell didn't shy away from that at all, saying the onus is on the offense. We got to step up tonight, and they did. All right. There wasn't a couple people going back and forth in the comments regarding whether or not that was pass interference on Amon-Ra St. Brown. And again, I'll say what I said. I think I did see contact there. Sure. I just don't think that call is made at that juncture of the game, and I would say the same thing. Listen, if I were a Packers fan, I'd probably say I'm disappointed, but I understand that call is not made there. All righty. Nuno to 5 says, up on y'all, 30 games and 4 Super Bowls. Sorry, ass franchise refs ain't got to help in the playoffs. All right, I wonder who he was rooting for. Somebody's a little bit upset tonight, and the all caps would certainly indicate that. All right, let's hear it. Nuno to 5 is going off. Worst franchise next to the Browns. All right, there you go. Nuno, I hope you have a better night. Don't let it ruin your night. The Packers are a good team. Hopefully they, for your sake, hopefully they bounce back and make the playoffs because, man, they were, Jordan Love and the rest of that core and the Packers, one of the all-time iconic franchises. Do we hate them as Lions fans? Of course, but there's nothing but respect there. So no need to be so upset, Nuno. It's all going to be okay. Some other numbers to get into on this one. I mentioned Jared Goff's play. Really, really good again tonight. Had the one interception, but, man, bounced back to complete his final 13 passes of the night, had the 3 touchdowns. He was 32 of 41 for 283 43 yards. As a team, the Lions did get over 100 yards rushing, 111 for the night, but on 34 carries. So they averaged just 3.3 yards per carry, a rushing touchdown for Montgomery. Gibbs' touchdown on the night was a receiving touchdown. He had 15 rushes for 43 yards, Montgomery 14 for 51. So again, the Packers defensively really held those two guys in check, all things considered. Jameson Williams, 5 catches for 80 yards. And the 2 touchdowns for Tim Patrick on 6 catches for 43 yards. Laporta had 5 catches for 54 yards. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, 5 catches, 43 yards. But the biggest one of the night to get the Lions in position to go for it on 4th down. But a depleted defense, you got to give them a lot of credit. They made Jordan Love uncomfortable at times tonight. But again, and the Packers fans in the chat, listen, you got a great team. There's no doubt about it. Zadarius Smith got the sack early, but the Lions were never able to actually get back to Jordan Love. He evaded pressure a couple of different times in a very impressive fashion. But overall, such a hard-fought, well-played game. This kind of had the feeling of anyways that whoever had the ball last was going to have the best chance to win this game. But we got one more segment. Don't go anywhere. Thursday night football is in the books. The Lions beat the Green Bay Packers and moved to 12-1 on the season, and we tie a bow on it next here on the Locked On Lions Postcast. This episode of the Locked On Lions Postcast is brought to you by Mint Mobile. That's right. With big wireless providers, what you see is never really what you get. Somewhere between the store and your first month's bill, the price you thought you were paying magically skyrockets. With Mint Mobile, you'll never have to worry about gotchas ever again. When Mint Mobile says $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, what a crazy concept. They mean it. Say bye-bye to overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. Man, that sounds nice. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts. It's that easy. So ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's deal and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month for 3 months. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. All right, appreciate everybody tuning in as always, and it's always a pleasure to be on the air. Hopefully people are keeping it respectful in the comments because, listen, while we enjoy having a good time and are passionate about our fan bases, never want it to spill over into something that keyboard warriors are getting at. And with no producer, listen, it's just me here, so I got nobody monitoring the comments. Everybody just be cool, as they say. But the Detroit Lions win their 11th consecutive game, and a depleted defense plays well enough to help the Lions win, and the offense takes it the final end of the game, the final 3 minutes and change down the field, setting up Jake Bates for the game-winning field goal. And again, you look at where this Lions team is going. Up next, the Buffalo Bills, so it doesn't get any easier. And the NFC North has been so good that these games, there's no time to take your foot off the gas because the Lions are fighting for that first round bye. Remember, the new playoff format, I guess it's not that new anymore, but there's only one team gets a first round bye. And if there's a team that needs a bye more than anybody, it's the Detroit Lions. But you got Philadelphia still fighting. Minnesota's not going anywhere. The list goes on. So for the Lions to get this win, absolutely huge to move to 12-1 on the season. Bills up next. That's going to be a 4:25 start later in the afternoon. That game, a lot of people were talking about it getting flexed. It's not getting flexed. CBS protecting that one, of course. And then the Lions close out the final 3 games of the regular season on the road in Chicago, on the road at Levi Stadium against the San Francisco 49ers. I'll be at that game, so no Locked On Lions postcast after that one. We'll talk about that later. It's not important now. And then closing out the season at home against the Minnesota Vikings. So all kinds of fun ahead for the Detroit Lions like tonight. I mean, my goodness, I was on the edge of my seat. I was pacing back and forth. I thought some other notes, I guess, and this happens from time to time when a game goes down to the wire like that. I forget some of the notes I made for the first half, so we can review that. How about Matt LaFleur getting into it, the head coach for the Green Bay Packers? Somebody in the comments maybe can help me out with this one, because I saw the footage on NFL Network, but nobody could really explain to me what happened. I'm texting people, I'm looking online, and Matt LaFleur getting into it with a Lions fan who was holding the giant flag for the national anthem. That was crazy. I wonder if anybody else saw that. Let me know in the comments, because that was one thing I wrote down from the top is I have to get understanding on what happened. But I thought the Lions set the tone with that opening drive to go up 7-0. And again, when you get the ball and you know your defense is depleted, you got to go down and make a statement. And that's exactly what the Lions did with that 11-play, 70-yard drive, culminating with the 3-yard rushing touchdown from David Montgomery. Of course, Jake Bates with the walk-off field goal for the win. All right. That being said, I did have to chuckle when Tucker Kraft got his ass kicked by Trevor Nowatzki. Shout out Trevor Nowatzki. Now, Tucker Kraft, I mean, he's a good player. Everybody knows that. But he ran his mouth this week. Packers get the L. And the great thing about Tucker Kraft and the football gods is he runs his mouth and he gets absolutely smoked. I saw him and Kirby Joseph getting into it in the pregame. But again, listen, I'm not going to get on here and troll people because, like I said, Tucker Kraft's a very good player. And we saw it from the Green Bay Packers tonight. He ends with 3 catches for 41 yards and a touchdown. So it's not like he's some scrub by any means, but he did get smoked on that play by Trevor Nowatzki. Just go back. I retweeted it. You can check that out as well. Huge play at the end of the first half, of course, with the 4th down conversion on the choice route straight out of the Madden playbook for Jahmyr Gibbs. Got to give that a lot of credit, but you got to give Green Bay credit for the way they came out of the halftime break. The long pass to Christian Watson. They score a touchdown. They get an interception on Jared Goff and then go and score 14 points quickly to completely change the dynamics of the game. But that's where the resiliency from this Detroit Lions team was, and you absolutely love to see how they came back to get the win in this one. I mentioned Tim Patrick. He gets my game ball. I put him on the thumbnail. Wow, was he really good tonight. The 2 catches, one of them being, or 2 touchdown catches, 6 catches total. One of the 4th down touchdowns that the Lions scored was to Tim Patrick. So really great stuff right there. All right. That being said, appreciate everybody tuning in, and we got a little time off next couple of days. It's been a busy week with Locked On Pistons, because don't forget, this is not just the Locked On Lions postcast. We've got the Locked On Pistons postcast. When it's football season, we got Locked On Lions postcast. We got Locked On Tigers postcast when it's baseball season. Locked On Wolverines postcast. This is your home for all your post-game destination when it comes to Detroit sports. So fired up as always to be with you. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe. We'd certainly appreciate that. Go ahead and like the video as well. You can share it to any of your Lions friends or even Packers friends, because I like to think I provide decent analysis that is not just one-sided. But as always, we thank you for making Locked On Lions your first listen. But for your second listen, you got to find the new Locked On NFL, now with 2 shows every day. First, the madman Tyler Rowland kicks off your morning with a double shot of NFL espresso, and then stop by the barbershop with Tony Wiggins for some real NFL talk. You can find Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Lions beat the Green Bay Packers. That always feels good to say. It was so fun to watch. A walk-off field goal for Jake Bates. 34-31. Dan Gamble and company. The Lions go for it on 4th down, clinch it with a run to David Montgomery despite Jared Goff falling down. And Detroit has won 11 in a row. They're 12-1. Until next time, have a wonderful evening. And as always, we thank you for making the Locked On Lions postcast your postgame destination. My name is Jake Rietma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Rietma. And have a wonderful night, and see you next time on Locked On Sports Detroit.